Music's greatest songs. Greatest songs. Worth covering. Original classic hitmakers.
So let me tell you a story, and I'm going to go back to 1976. Don't go anywhere. Just sit back, drive, or relax wherever you may be listening, and understand that this artist is incredible in his own right. I don't know about him, so it's beautiful when a song like this comes to the music greats, because actually I sit there researching, go, no way, wow, and there are always certain relevance points that you might go, oh, I remember my mum, or I remember my dad talking about that, or whatever it was. And this happened with this particular artist, known as Andrew Gold, and we're going back to 1976. Andrew Morris Gold, great name, Morris. Where did Morris go? We need to bring that back. He was an American multi-instrumentalist, that's what they call him, singer, songwriter, record producer, but actually went to school in the UK. He influenced much of the Los Angeles-dominated kind of rock sound in the 1970s. It was him that was pulling the strings on that. And he played endless scores of sort of records with other artists, most notably a female artist called Linda Ronstadt. Now, I sort of know the name, but don't really know the music until I started digging. And she's got some vocals on the song that I'm going to play you, which is called Lonely Boy. This song, and I'm going to tell you more about the song in a moment, but if I tell you that this sat in the American charts for 5 whole months, songs don't do that. They just don't do that. But this was one of the biggest hits he had in the States. But in the UK, it was a different song. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Do you remember, Hass, the song Thank You for Being a Friend? 1978, but was used in The Golden Girls. It's the theme tune to The Golden Girls. Remember
Can you hum it?
Don't ask me.
Thank you.
I can't sing a note. Even if I do hum it, you'll go, what was that?
Thank you, India.
No.
Thank you.
No. Thank you for being a friend.
Ooh.
That's how it goes.
Is that a tune?
But also, playing it over Lonely Boy or singing it over...
I'm sure Thank you.
I'm not doing it.
I will Google that.
Appalling.
Okay.
Google it.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a friend. There will be people who go, if you've watched The Golden Girls, and it was on in my house when I was young, so I know The Golden Girls. There's also a song called Never Let Her Slip Away. I do remember my mum singing that to me. I remember us dancing to that. So that was really nice to read. So he's had some big old hits. Thank You for Being a Friend was huge. Never Let Her Slip Away, 1978, it was huge. In the 1980s, he had more success internationally. He was good. He was one half of a band called Wax, and that was a collaboration with 10cc's Graham Goldman. Now, the only reason I remember 10cc is because my dad was a fan, and somewhere in our house are vinyls of all the 10cc albums and all the Pink Floyd albums, and I must ask my dad where those are, because that would be incredible to have those vinyls. I need to get that. So he's producing during the 1990s, Gold, doing really well, composing, performing, lots of tracks for films. And funnily enough, the song that I'm playing, this Lonely Boy song, came from a film that I watched over the weekend on Netflix. They've just loaded Boogie Nights. If you haven't seen Boogie Nights, it's from the late 90s. Go check it out. It is crazy. It's one of Mark Wahlberg's. Watching it again with someone who hadn't seen it was really amusing, especially as it's quite like, ooh. And the person I was watching it with kept going, wow. Like, it really took him by surprise. So it's quite a fun watch to go see. But Andrew Gold was born, it wasn't bald, he was born in Burbank, California, and he followed his parents into show business. Now, this is where the research got really, really interesting. His mother was a singer. She was called Mamie Nixon. Now, she provided the singing voice for loads of actresses at the time. Natalie Wood, which blew me away. Natalie Wood in West Side Story. When you come from an acting background like me, you saw all of the musicals and things like that on TV. I didn't know that Natalie Wood wasn't singing in that. But also The King and I. Remember the original King and I? Okay, so his mother was actually the voice of Deborah Carr, the actress who sung in The King and I. It wasn't her. And he also provided the voice for Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady, one of the biggest movies of all time. His mother did. So that woman is quite extraordinary. His father, Ernest Gold, won an Academy Award for his score for the movie Exodus. So actually, where was he going to go with parents like that? Of course, he was going to end up in music. He began writing songs at the age of 13, and then 70s was when he started to do his thing, and he had a couple of albums, and they don't do much at the beginning, and then suddenly, this was the album, 1975, he wrote this album. 96 was when it was released. 1977 was when this song came out. But he did a lot of work with Art Garfunkel. I'm looking at them. Yeah, so you remember, what was it? Simon and Garfunkel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Art Garfunkel is half of that.
Yeah.
I Only Have Eyes for You. Andrew Gold did all the music for that. He was
production, you mean?
Oh, yeah, production, and played all the instruments.
Wow.
Did all of it. So a real musical boy. So Lonely Boy, I'm going to tell you about the song now because it's great. So if you do watch Boogie Nights, you'll understand why I suddenly went, I've got to play that on the Music Grace. It was a hit in 1977, but written in 1975. It was Andrew Gold, and of course he had Linda Ronstadt, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, with him. And it's from the album called What's Wrong With This Picture, which I love. It spent 5 months on the American charts, peaked at number 7 in Canada and the States, only number 11 in the United Kingdom. We only liked it a little bit. Whereas in the United Kingdom, Never Let Her Slip Away was much bigger and sat in the top 10 there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, the song's quite interesting because it's going to follow, when you listen to the words. So it's about a little boy who's feeling neglected by his parents. They have a young sister. They give him a younger sister, so he has a sibling. He doesn't like that. And he talks about lots of other things. And it tells the story of him being a lonely boy. Now, in an interview, Andrew Gold was asked, is this autobiographical? Is this song about your life? And he said categorically, no, it wasn't. But what's quite funny, everyone assumes that it actually is, and he just didn't want to admit it because the verse's first lines, he was born on a summer's day in 1951. That's Andrew Gold's birthday. It says, in the summer of 53, his mother brought him a sister. That matches his sister Martha's birthday, July 1953. And it also says he left home on a winter's day, 1969 in the song, and that matches the formation of his first band, Brindle. So it would...
I don't know. I think it's interesting you bring that up. The reason why I'm saying is because I had a discussion with an artist, a rapper, just yesterday actually, about this. And I think we tend to... an artist at the end of the day is an artist, right? So maybe this is his life. Maybe it's not his life.
Well, I mean, maybe
he
just used the dates, he got inspiration, and maybe he massaged it.
And maybe he knows that people are going to be like, oh, it's going to be like that. Because right now, Kendrick Lamar, for example, To Pimp a Butterfly, his album, in every song, he's actually telling you something. So the nerds of hip-hop,
right,
and the people who are bloggers,
plucking
journalists,
out the info.
Yeah, it's not for it's not for anyone regular Joe to understand. But if you really want to get what he's trying to say, you listen to the whole thing. He's saying something at the end, of everything. So sometimes it's like that, and it doesn't matter what era. This was in 1975 or
1977. Yes, he wrote it in 1975. There are clearly lots of similarities. I mean, remember they didn't have the internet then, so whether he didn't actually think that people would necessarily... But whatever reason, he didn't want to talk about it. Maybe when he was in the interview, he didn't want to go into it. I mean, the song is about being lonely. And the next question that follows, if you say, yes, it is about my life, they'll go, and why were you so lonely? And maybe he just thought, I don't really want to talk about that. Yeah, go away. So if you say no, they're like, right, and what's your favourite colour?
And that's why I think it's an artist, at the end of the day, But if he said yes, maybe the whole discussion would have been like...
It would have turned. And maybe he just didn't want to. But there are lots of similarities. So here you go, have a listen to this song. It is actually quite sad, but it's super cool, and it's so 70s. The vibe, the feel, the beat, the everything. It's very, very 70s.
If you liked this episode of Yalla Home, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.